Well, signed one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything signed like this.
What is Trump's new pharmaceutical executive order? Let me explain. On Sunday, May 11th, Trump touted the most important and impactful truth ever issued. He was referring to an announcement that would become his May 12th executive order titled Delivering Most Favored Nation Prescription Drug Pricing to American Patients. Trump called it
one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything signed like this, certainly not with respect to health care, nothing even close.
His press conference and executive order focused on the issue of high pharmaceutical drug prices in the United States. On this topic, Trump stated,
"Some prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 50 to 80 to 90%.
This executive order argues that America has neglected its own citizens, who unwittingly sponsor both drug manufacturers and other countries. It further explains that U.S. drug prices are inflated to subsidize lower costs abroad. During his press conference, Trump said,
"Starting today, the United States will no longer subsidize the health care of foreign countries," which is what we were doing. We're subsidizing others' health care. Countries where they paid a small fraction of what for the same drug that what we pay many, many times more for, and will no longer tolerate.
The executive order continues, the inflated prices in the U.S. fuel global innovation while foreign health systems get a free ride. This abuse of Americans' generosity, who deserve low-cost pharmaceuticals on the same terms as other developed nations, must end. To address this, Section 2 of the order, titled Policy, states that Americans will pay the lowest price, or what it calls the most favored nation price. If drug companies do not comply, the administration will take strong action. Trump said,
"Big Pharma will either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government to ensure that we are paying the same price as other countries. To accelerate these price restrictions and reductions, my administration will also cut out the middlemen. We're going to totally cut out the famous middlemen. Nobody knows who they are, middlemen. I've been hearing the term for 25 years, middlemen. I don't know who they are, but they're rich."
In terms of addressing the issue internationally, the executive order instructs the Secretary of Commerce and the U.S. Trade Representative to take all necessary and appropriate action to ensure foreign countries are not engaged in any act, policy, or practice that allows Americans to face what it calls discriminatory pharmaceutical pricing.
Pharma has to say, we're sorry, but we'll not be able to do this any longer to these countries that have been so tough. They've been very tough, nasty. It's trade.
The final sections of the order call for a plan to be developed by several officials, including the Secretary of State, to implement pricing that matches the lowest rates paid by other nations. Caroline Leavitt commented on the executive order, saying, "This executive order will bypass costly middlemen and bring the prices Americans pay for prescription drugs in line with those paid by other nations. Other presidents merely talked about addressing this problem, but President Trump is taking bold action to finally solve it and deliver a good deal for American families and seniors." Senator Chuck Schumer responded, "This is just like what he tried in 2020. Let's see if prices actually come down." Senate Democrats stood up to Big Pharma and actually fought for families. What do you think about Trump's new pharmaceutical executive order? Let us know in the comments.